All righty. Bleav in Bama episode 3, coming off a great win in some areas. Definitely a win to still improve in some areas for Alabama against Mississippi State. DJ Fluker back in the house. How's it going? What is up? Did you watch the game on Saturday? Did you have to go back and take notes? Because I know you said you were going to do that. So I'm just saying. I don't know.
My God.
I don't know if you got your notepad or.
I watched the game. I actually watched the game and I replayed a little bit of the game, and then I was like, okay. Then I was trying to like fast forward a little bit, but I mean, I watched the game. I was kind of in and out. I was still kind of like moving around Saturday, of course. And then I kind of came to a point where I was like, all right, let me get my notebook, make sure I'm taking the notes down and everything. And I did pretty decent, I think.
Okay.
If I was scouting some guys, I would.
I was like, scouting report? Yeah, what are we looking at?
I did a little homework. I ain't go too much. I ain't going into detail like that. But I did watch the game. It was very interesting. Kind of like what we talked about during the week.
Very interesting. Yeah, so this was my first game sitting up in the stands since fall of 2018. So that was just like a whole different atmosphere in itself. You know, normally I'm used to being like yay close to Saban when he's coming out of the tunnel, and this time I'm like up in the stands. I was like, well, this is different. This is a different view. What I did learn, I don't know if my contact prescription is accurate, because I'm telling you, I had good seats, and I feel like I'm like squinting, like, because I was like, where are my contacts or whatever, and I'm like, who is that? Like, I was like, I had good seats too. I wasn't even up in upper bowl. Like, I was in lower bowl. I was like right behind the Mississippi State band, and I'm like, that's Bryce, right? Like, that's him. But definitely a fun experience, a good time to go back and everything. But it's interesting kind of what you see, the different ways you can watch a football game. You know, when I'm down on the sidelines and I'm shooting the highlights, I'm seeing it differently. When you're up in the stands, you're obviously seeing it differently. And then watching it on TV, it's like you see this whole other dynamic, and it's so interesting, the different takeaways that you can get just based on how you watch a football game. I didn't watch most of it on TV, but I did see the very last play of the game on TV. So let's just jump right into it, because I literally was like, did they just let him walk right into that end zone? But the defense had a really good game. They did.
Yeah, I told you.
And then just all of a sudden, they just let him walk right in. And I was like, what's that about? But I mean, you could tell, like, the guys were not happy, like, with that final play. And I was like, I wanted the shutout, man. Because that's their first score in Tuscaloosa since 2014. And I was like, I needed it. I needed the shutout. I was like, I want everyone to remember that 2014 was the year they last scored. But if we're gonna allow it, 6 points, I guess I'll be okay with. Not the sigh, not the deep breath.
It's like the fact that it scored was like,
I know. I literally, because I like looked up, I was like, what's happening? It's like,
there was definitely some miscommunication going on, because one of the DBs got pissed off.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but he was like, he was laying
smacking his hand. Yes, he was.
And I was like, okay, that is what I like to see. Well, and I think the way that someone that I saw on Twitter or something worded this, I loved, because I think they were like, honestly, like, Mississippi State's touchdown is like a blessing in disguise or something like that. They're like, the Alabama defense had a really good game, but allowing that last minute score, you know, they're going to, and you could tell by the way they were kind of like pissed off about it, like they're going to continue to use that. And someone said, you know, everyone else will look at and remember the 59 minutes and 59 seconds of that football game, or I guess 57, because I think it was like 3 seconds on the clock or something like that.
Yeah.
So everyone else is going to remember the 59 minutes, the 57, 58, whatever seconds. But those guys on defense, and Nick Saban specifically, they're going to remember that last few seconds of the game or that last second of him running in and being like, well, what went wrong here? Like, clearly y'all did not have a perfect game. So what went wrong? And try and use that to try and kind of fuel the fire again. Because it's like, well, you could have had a shutout. You could have kept them from scoring for the first time in however many years, and everything like that. But overall, was impressed with the defense. Which I think we were both saying, like, they needed that. Like, they needed to come into that game. And anyone that gets an angry Nick Saban, an angry Alabama football team, I feel bad for. I'm praying for before the game. Like, if you're getting an angry Will Anderson out on that field, I pray for you. I pray for your body. I pray for your soul. I pray for your mind. Like, because I do not want to be on the other end of an angry Will, Henry, Toa, any of those guys. I don't want them coming at me like 100 miles a minute when I've got that ball in my hand, when they are pissed off. That is not what I want. So the defense needed a game like that. And I was definitely happy that they got it against Mississippi State, a good Mississippi State team. But now I think, again, what are we going to see, the next time they go on the road? Because home games, except for that Texas A&M game, and I don't want to talk about it, have not been. I was like, we just won't. I just can't talk about it.
Let's not do that.
I just can't talk about it. The home games, for the most part, have not been the issue. But what are we going to see, the next time they go on the road? I don't know. But overall, was pleased with the defense against the Bulldogs for sure.
Yeah, I gotta say, Pete, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, he actually did a great job sending a whole lot of blitzes down on the way up Mississippi State. They were pretty frustrated. They were playing a lot of man-to-man coverage. Usually their defense really is like cover 7. That's really what they run. But they did a good solid job. Had a little flag here, a little flag there. But I mean, I think the guys got the message after last week after taking a loss. I remember we was talking about it a couple of days ago about them guys getting a shutout. I said they need a shutout. They'll come back a whole lot more focused. And I think they played a pretty good, solid game. Defensively they stepped up to the plate as we thought they should. More film study, and they shouldn't have scored that last little 3-second score. I mean, come on now. They almost had a goose egg. That's the best part about defense. Alabama defense, they always had goose eggs. I remember when I played, our defense used to shut teams out. But they're still young. They're still a little bit young guys up there. So I have to give those guys credit. They did play a good solid game, a good solid defensive game. I think they really needed that. Like you were saying. And as far as offense now, offense picked up a whole lot better as far as passing the ball. I think that they need to run the ball a little bit more because it seems like it's a little bit weak right now. I'm looking at Gibbs only had one touchdown for I think he ran 11, 12-yard touchdown.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And what was that? Second quarter. And the first touchdown came from JoJo early in the game. So and that was on a scramble, of course. He had a little extra time.
I don't understand how he does it. I don't understand how Bryce Young stays on his feet and scrambles the way he does. And he makes it look so effortless and so smooth when he does it. It's like the amount of times I'm like, how'd you get that ball off? Like, how did you stay alive? I don't understand.
I don't get it. He's like a freaking Houdini.
I've
never seen
that's what I'm saying.
How many tricks does he have?
I need to know. I'm going to say I need to know, but I want him to keep it in the bag of tricks. I don't want other people to find out about it, but I want to know.
I'm telling you, I just want wherever Space Jam juice he drinking, I want to sip.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Shoot.
I am right there with you. I'm like, whatever you ate for breakfast this morning, I need the same. I'm gonna say, I don't know if you have Bryce Young Wheaties on the rise, NIL. I don't know if that's what we've got going on, but if so, then I need some because he is astounding to me. I think there's just so much poise to him, and I know everyone says this, but it's again, just the fact that he can scramble like that and then manage to look all calm and composed when he does it. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, there were times that during that pocket, he didn't have to scramble majority of the time. I mean, the whole line, offensive line, they did a great job picking up business. Um, the only thing I did see when I was watching the game, they don't have one sack off. They had a sack off a play, action play, which literally was like, sometimes that happens. I mean, defense, they're gonna get one. They only
Yeah.
get one sack or two sacks at least. Somehow. But I mean, overall, Bryce found a lot of momentum at going into this game. I Bleav that if he was actually thinking more positive, getting his teammate like around him, made some good solid throws. He had a nice throw in a sideline. I seen when he roll out to the pocket.
Yeah.
To the right. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It was the receiver was probably like 1 or 2 yards from the sideline, and he got his foot down. So, and then the kicker stepped up. Ricard stepped up. He went 3 for 3 in the field goal. So I mean, he redeemed himself from last week too. So he did a great job, 100% on a field goal. Our defense also had 2 sacks in the second quarter. So I mean, the team was rolling. They had a great momentum going into that half. I think that was kind of what set the tone for everything. And you can see them just like rallying around around each other. They were happy. They were happy. Very, very happy Alabama team that first half. I Bleav.
Absolutely. And I think just around the board, just the discipline as a whole was a lot more back to the Alabama standard, that we're used to coming off that Tennessee game. And then, I mean, Texas A&M just a few weeks ago, a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, a lot of not necessary errors and flags and penalties and all that. I think the discipline as a whole just back to the Bama standard. They knew that they needed to come into this game on, all three, special teams, offense and defense. They needed to come in, they needed to be ready, and they needed to show that, we don't need to be questioning if Alabama is still a dominant football team and a dominant football. There don't need to be any question marks necessarily coming out of that Tennessee game. I think there were like 3 penalties the whole game, question mark.
Yeah, that does one. I think there was a one on defense. There was one on defense.
I think there was. I want to say because there was one on defense. I'm pretty sure on that final Mississippi State drive. I think. Was it? Maybe. I could be wrong.
I think there was one. I think they were on a 50 going. Mississippi State was on a 50 going in. They had a one on a PI. Oh, okay. I think that's what it had. I think that's what I remember. I remember I was in and out on that game a little bit.
I need to take better notes. Clearly, I need to get my notebook out and start taking better notes.
I'm on top of it. We
clearly
we here.
I would have paid like money for me to show up to that game, like, and sitting in the stands or whatever, and just with my notepad.
Oh yeah.
Everyone around me would have been like, what is happening? What is this girl doing? I've been like, I am doing my research. Okay.
Right. You got to do research. I mean, that's the only way you get better. I mean, people always want to know how to be great. That's how you be great right there. Taking notes. I mean,
take notes, do your homework.
Yeah.
But
they look pretty.
They look good. Solid. I think I still need, and I'm with you on needing to run the ball a little bit more, because I still think, despite the fact that we've got Bryce and he can do what he does so well, I think that there's still a little bit of a chemistry disconnect with him and the receivers. I feel like there's sometimes where he's making throws that the receivers definitely should grab and they're not. And I feel like it's just one of those recently with Alabama quarterbacks and the receiving core that they've had recently, there's been just this such incredible connection, and it's just kind of a seamlessness to it. I feel like we're just seeing that connection so seamlessly, and I'm not seeing that yet with Bryce and these receivers. They're all making really good plays for like throughout the game and everything. But I think what we're used to seeing is, I mean, it's like every first down, it's like, okay, got it. It's like, you remember, like all the, deep passes to Devontae Smith
Right.
and Jalen Waddle and all of those guys. And I think we're still not seeing that like perfect connection just yet. And I mean, it's football, so it's not going to be perfect, and all of that kind of stuff. But I know that is the Bama standard, is you want to be the best. And I think that we're still working on that chemistry, at least in the passing game, just a little bit. But definitely not bad by any means, but just maybe an area I think we still need to improve on a little bit. So bringing in the run game and using a guy like Jameer who can just, I mean, do whatever, it seems, I think could definitely be a benefit for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I mean, usually, it used to be where Alabama just run the ball, pound, pound, pass, pounds pass, which the chemistry with the receiver were decent, but we were kind of relied on our run game. We had 3 great backs in the backfield. We really had 4 or 5 of them actually. But I can see where Alabama is really missing that run game. I mean, the passing game, they can pass the ball. I see it now. They got great pass blockers up front. Good passing, good pass blocking offensive line. I watch them. They play very solid, very, very in tune with each other, picking up blitzes. A guy drops. He knew Bryce had his read already, say where he was going. I mean, things are happening. I think that they need to get back to pounding the rock. So at least they're not one dimensional. I mean, they have a great running back there that wants touches. I think it's very important to get him really involved into that. They run a little bit of outside zone. I seen to the right a lot. They had a little bit of tight zone like down the middle, but I mean they have to learn how to pound the rock. That's Alabama football. I mean the football we're seeing is still great. The passing game is awesome, but they have to incorporate that run game because you're gonna meet a team in another week, which is LSU, who just took down the undefeated Ole Miss, which is a damn good football team
yeah.
And they came back and those guys are hungry, so it's like the offensive line got to be ready for that. Being able to be physical. I mean, that's the key to playing a championship football. Is it really like in the trenches? You gotta have a physical line, D line and offensive line. But they have to get that run game and really just start them going because you can only rely on Bryce Young for so much until he's out of tricks. And now we really got to pound the ball. He really got to emphasize the run.
What do you think about? And I think a lot of people specifically were looking at the Mississippi State game, but maybe some at Tennessee. What are your thoughts on Bill O'Brien and what kind of play calling he's been doing for Alabama this season? I think obviously that's part of it, and maybe part of not running the ball as much because they're choosing not to. But just kind of what have you seen from the play calling on the offensive side of the ball that you're impressed with, but also maybe needs a little bit of room for improvement?
I mean, I looked at I seen his background. His background, he coming from the Pac-12 background where there's a lot of West Coast like passing the ball, a lot of pass heavy offense basically. And that's probably why we haven't seen a solid running game from Alabama because of that situation. To say he's not a good passing coordinator, and that's really what this offense is, really passing the ball. We have a great good play action. I'm watching that. I mean, he's getting guys open off the play action because off the play action run. Even though we don't run the ball as much as we should run the ball, we should run the ball a lot more. But he's with O'Brien. I mean, he's done great with other team passing the ball. I mean, Bryce Young wants to pass the ball. I mean, he's doing great, putting the ball in his hand and he make plays. But I think Bill O'Brien's really missing a solid run game and getting his linemen to actually, go be physical, go do what they're built to do. And I think now and then you'll see teams you'll see some blowing out teams 3-5-0, 4-5 because you're pounding them, consistently pounding them all the way to the fourth quarter. Alabama is a full court program. The linemen are built to last to the fourth quarter. But if you're not out there doing that, these teams got chances to come back because you're passing ball. So you want to be a conservative team, just a little bit where you're balanced. But I don't see the balance. All I see is passing the ball about almost 75% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I would say that's probably 75%. That sounds about right. And it's like, because you think, and I feel like, especially in the Tennessee game, everyone was like, "Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs,"
Right.
and you do see him make these incredible plays and get these great scores, but it's just not the majority of the game itself. It's like you're obviously, you see these plays that he's making, but when you actually, look at the play-by-play, it is definitely not the vast majority of it. I don't think by any means. It's definitely more passing game, which is, again, when you got Bryce Young, I get that. Like, I get wanting to do that, and especially with the quarterbacks that the program has had in the recent years. You've got Jalen, who I see a lot of Jalen in Bryce, in the cool, calm, collected composure and the ability to run and throw and all of that kind of stuff. So you got Jalen, who could throw the ball. You got Tua, who could obviously throw the ball. Mac, who could obviously throw the ball. And we won't get into Max using his feet because he stresses me out every time that boy decides to run. I'm like, Mac, what are you doing? What are you doing? So it's like, I get, when you've got a guy like Bryce, I get wanting to do that, but I think you've also you got to play to your strengths. And to your point, the fourth quarter or the 4 quarters mentality, you've got to outlast teams and you've got to dominate teams for that entire game. And I think a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase McClellan, they're only going to help in that department. Because it said it exactly. Bryce Young, you can only rely on him for so long. You can only use him this many plays in the game before finally, they start to catch up with him. So at least just to spread the love a little bit, I think might not be such a bad idea.
Yeah, they gotta have a pound game. They gotta have a ground game. I mean, I look at it, passing is great, but you gotta have a pound game. There's no way you can survive in college football, even in the NFL at the next level. You gotta be able to run the football, because when they come down to them guys covering those receivers, you'll come on a good coverage team. You're gonna have to pound that ball. And I think that's what they needed. I think that's the word they need to emphasize. That's where that we get running the ball. Feed those running backs. They deserve touches. They'll block that tail off, pass blocking, great. Give those guys touches. They deserve touches. I think that should be emphasized for the week to come.
I'm gonna say, definitely, we won't dive too much into next week's matchup in this episode. We'll save that for next week, but they are going on the road to an incredibly hostile environment, a night game at LSU. I worry for everyone's safety and health and well-being that's going to be in that stadium, because you got a lot of Cajuns that are going to be drinking starting at 9 o'clock in the morning and kick off at 6 o'clock. Oh boy, it makes me nervous. But you're going into an incredibly hostile environment. Brian Kelly's first season over in Baton Rouge. I think, I mean, they're obviously going to be electric over in Baton Rouge. And so I think that run game, just in the, what's the word I'm looking for? Just looking at the environment wise and the mistakes that can be made with the passing game, I think the run game is definitely something that they should look to use against LSU. I haven't looked at LSU's defense incredibly with a fine-tooth comb just yet. So I don't know a whole lot about LSU's defense, looking at that and, what they're best at stopping and all of that. But just for the sheer loudness that is going to be over in Baton Rouge, I feel like maybe we'll keep it on the ground for a few plays. Maybe we'll try that out again and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I actually watched a little bit of both teams. I mean, I watched a little bit of LSU Ole Miss. LSU Ole Miss game. It was a good solid game. First they were down, they actually started coming back and they won in the fourth quarter. And that's what I look at. And pounding the ball is really the key. I watched Ole Miss. They ran the ball down at LSU. I think the key for Alabama is really to establish that run game. They got to have a run game. I mean, far as they meet any other team, but and what I said was weeks to come. They need to emphasize running the ball for weeks to come, not just one game, just more
Right.
overall. Even at practice, you keep it going because that's what they're known for.
Yep.
You know, they have to keep that mentality. I think that's gonna help those guys jolt their offense with a run game. A solid run game, great passing game. Don't get them wrong, that great passing game is great. But I think that run is really emphasized. I think that's what really was hurting them. You know, I seen an article about Mike McCoy, former receiver who played Alabama. He was like, why don't you just let Bryce call the plays?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm just like, look, man, it's hard. It's hard. You know, you want as a coach. I mean, I actually try to coach a little bit of football. You know, and you want to make your players happy. But also, you also have to understand, like, my job depends on how I coordinate things for the defense that you're going to play against. And so it's always about your players first, of course, but the coach has to coach. The coach has to do his job about giving them better reads, giving them better plays, so that they don't feel like they're in a frustration or feel like we can't do this because you're calling them bad plays. And then that's where you have the love-hate relationship between the coach and the players. You know, and Bryce Young's a great quarterback, no bar none, but he also needs someone to lead him to where he needs to go. You know, I look at great coaches. Coaches lead their players, and players lead their teammates. You know, I think that's very beneficial there. But I mean, player, coaches coach. That's what it comes down to.
I say it's a lot easier said than done, you know, saying, oh, why don't you let Bryce call the plays and that kind of stuff, you know, when you're sitting at home on your couch watching the game. It's just like, oh, like, what are you oh, Bill, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I can't say I would do a better job. So I just gotta trust the process, if you will. And it's definitely a lot easier said than done to say, oh, well, Bryce is Bryce and he can do it, because it's exactly to your point. Well, it's like, well, it's his job to coordinate the offense, so maybe let him do that, and you know, just sit back, relax, eat your snacks, and calm down a little bit.
You know, that's what I you know, I've been being a player, and then, you know, being able to talk about how you really feel about things. You know, there's like, you know, there's always like some fans that always get mad and talking about, oh, the player sucks, he's that. But it's not the player, it's what we have to call for the defense they give us, or the offense they give us, you know. And it's like, you know, it's just about we have to execute what they give us. We go all week at practice, we prepare for this team.
Right.
5 days out of we prepare for this team. We have notebooks, we have film, we watching this after practice, before practice, before we get in the film and go to practice. So it's like we're watching all this film to prepare us. Now, it always comes down to the one guy. One guy may blows our assignment, but that guy should know his assignment. If you study the playbook, you should know your assignment. You should know what to do, what gap to be in, who to block, who to pick up on the blitz, because that's what it comes down to: inches and yards, and that's what it is. That's what I've known football to be. And you hear the critics sometimes get in your ear, oh, his this, but like, dude, you don't know how hard I work to even get to this predicament. And, you know, that's how I feel about these kids when they're playing football. When I see them playing on Saturday, but these kids putting all that effort, and to see someone try to take that from them is just like, wow, like, okay, you don't know what this kid had to do to get to this Saturday. You know,
I know.
You know, and the coaches, I'm telling you, these coaches we stay in there till like midnight, coaching these kids, going over plays, stressing out, wondering if this play don't work against this defense, and he gonna see this and block this guy, or he gonna see this and make sure he makes that play. You know, it's a lot that goes into this preparation of football. It's not just, hey, line up and go. I wish it was like that, but it just
right. Yeah, I say all the time. It's like literally, if I ever am like hearing someone, you know, being real nasty about the players, coaches, whoever, I'm always just thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I don't really think you could do better. I really, like, you know, like, to your point, so much preparation goes into this. Like, there is so much hard work. And I always remember, you know, like, I don't even think Bryce Young can like legally drink. Like these are a bunch of like 17 to like 22, 23-year-old. Like these are like a decent amount of the team. Like these are kids. Like
Right,
it's
exactly.
like these are incredibly talented athletes, and they don't necessarily carry themselves like their children. But you've got sometimes if you've got, let's say, a starting freshman quarterback, he could be 18 years old. Like you just
Right.
gotta give everyone a little bit of grace. And I mean, I work in the media, so I obviously also have a lot of people that criticize the way we do our jobs. And I just always try to
Right.
remember, do you want someone coming into your job or your, thing that you do and, screaming and yelling at you that you're not doing it right? No.
Right.
Like, well, Bill O'Brien doesn't want that either. Because I promise you,
Right.
because he's got Nick Saban to scream at him when he's not
Oh,
doing his job
of
right. So
course. That's where I was going with that.
I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure that he knows when he is messed up and when he's not doing his job. I'm pretty sure if Nick Saban is not happy with the way things are going,
Right.
he's already going to know about it from Nicholas Liu. Okay, he's
Of
already going
course.
to know about it.
You're right. You're right about it. Coach Saban will let you know if you're
Yeah,
messing
he'll let
up.
you know if he
He
is
gonna let you know.
displeased. I'm going to
He
say
gonna,
you could be up 50-0, and if something happens that he is not happy about, he's going to let you know.
y'all, of course. I mean, it doesn't matter because he's never satisfied. He always says maintaining is being complacent. We don't want to maintain. We want to be more. I think that's what it goes back to. I mean, he wants the best for his team. That's why when they scored a touchdown, you see in the fourth quarter, he was pissed off. He was
Oh
running down
yeah.
the sideline like y'all always does. It never fails. That sideline run when he was angry, I promise, it's probably the most funniest thing ever. But he knows what he knows,
Oh yeah,
and
that's for sure.
that's how to coach that defense. That's what he knows.
That is 100% the truth. Well, like I said, we won't dive too much into the LSU game. We'll save that for next week. Alabama is on a bye this week, so some time to rest up, get healthy. I'm sure that's super important for a lot of those guys because when you're in SEC and you're playing SEC football week in and week out, I'm pretty sure they're feeling a little banged up right now. Their bodies might be hurting
Oh
a little
yeah.
bit.
Oh yeah, most definitely. They need all the rest they can get. I mean, I look forward to those guys having a good rest. They deserve it. They did redeem themselves. Play a whole lot of better. A whole. I want to say the whole team. They play a whole lot better this game than the Tennessee game. Now, of course, they score points, of course, but like I think this week is for them to rest. Look a little bit of film of for the next opponent. Recovery cost of family members. Check on them. I mean, that's what this time for, and catch up on the schoolwork as they should. This is what that time for, and so I'll leave you with that.
Love it. I want to know how many kids in the state of Alabama dress up as Nick Saban for Halloween. That is my question. Or just Bama players as a whole. There's got to be think about how many people dress up as Bryce Young for Halloween this year. A
There's
lot.
probably a lot. But I want to say the players. I'll say more the parents.
Yeah, fair. Fair. Because that's an easy
parents.
Halloween costume for the parents. You just throw on the Bama jersey, maybe put a little eye black just to really get into things. So that's an easy.
I'll say more the parents.
Yes, we're going trick or treating. Okay, I'll throw on my Bama jersey. I'll be an Alabama football player.
God. Yeah, those parents. I'll tell you now. Those parents, those parents love some Alabama football. They love Coach Saban.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you that. I know when I was there, them parents love Coach Saban. They would go crazy over.
Oh, they do.
To us, he just coached to us.
They do.
Oh
I know.
God.
That is so I was talking about this at work last night with someone, and when people especially people here in North Alabama or just Alabama in general, when they find out that I work in sports and that I cover Alabama football games, they're like, Oh my God. So you've been in the same room as Nick Saban. And I mean, it's like I'm telling them I won like the Nobel Peace Prize. Like
Right.
that is how like they put me up on this pedestal. They're like, oh my God, like you've spoken to Nick Saban. And I'm like, I mean, we're not like first name basis or anything. Like
Right.
I don't think my guy Nick is has any idea really who I am, except for this girl he randomly sees at press conferences. But it's like, yeah, I've been. And they're like, I mean, just starstruck just by the idea of being around him. That is like, I think it is so fascinating. I think, and like, I think maybe a lot of that is because I also went to Alabama. So it's like, I was used to that. I was used to, oh, it's Nick Saban. Like, it's not like I went to a small school that didn't have this, you know, big football program. It's like, I'm used to the big name players, the big name coaches and all of that. But I'm gonna keep my eye out. I might have to like drive around on Monday just to see if I can like see any parent trick-or-treaters that are taking their kids around and see how many Alabama jerseys I spot.
You're gonna see them. I promise you're gonna see them. You're gonna see the parents out more than the kids.
Easy costume, or like maybe like the parents, or maybe like the kids Nick Saban in cute little costume and the parents are players. A whole little family dynamic. You never know.
You never know. You never know what you're gonna get.
You really don't. Well, we'll chat about LSU next week, bye week for Alabama, so everyone gets to rest up, hang out, and DJ, I wish you a happy Halloween. Have so much fun with your. Are you going to be an Alabama football player for Halloween? You probably should be, right?
Oh God, I can't do it. Those days are over for me.
Can't do it.
I can't do it.
I love it. Well, happy Halloween, happy bye week. Hang out, watch some football. I know I'll be doing the same, and then we'll dive into LSU next week.
All right, you have a good Halloween. Are you going trick or treating?
I am not going trick or treating, and I am not dressing up as Nick Saban or an Alabama football player.
So what are you going to dress up as then? Let's start there.
So I have two costumes that I'm potentially wearing. One of them, I am going as Kim Possible, and one of my friends is going as the evil Kim Possible, Shigo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Shigo.
I mean, I know.
So like black and green, black hair, Kim Possible. Right. So we're doing that, and then I am going as Lightning McQueen from the Cars movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Ka-chow.
Where did that come from?
TikTok. I saw some girl do it on TikTok, and I was like, I want to be Lightning McQueen. I want to say ka-chow. I want ka-chow to be my catchphrase. So Lightning McQueen. I'm excited about it. None of my friends would go as. I wanted someone to go as like Mater, the truck from it with me, but no one's going as Mater. So Lightning McQueen's gonna be solo, but Kim Possible and Shigo. So no Alabama football players, but I do have the jersey if I need it for, a last second, third costume.
Okay, backup plan. A, B, and C. I like it. A, B, and C.
I could be, I have Derrick Henry, and then I have some random jersey that has the random number on it that I can't remember who. So I could be Derrick Henry for Halloween, because me and Derrick Henry really resemble each other, clearly.
Wow. Okay.
Clearly. Okay. Because we look exactly alike. And I can also stiff arm grown men like Derrick Henry.
Well, shoot, they look like they need you right now. So you want to go to the Titans? Let me know.
We can't get into that. We don't have time for that today.
All right, we'll call it out. We'll call it out. No worries.
Cut the tape. All right. Well, happy Halloween, everyone. Happy bye week from Alabama football. And next week we've got LSU. So we'll talk LSU next week.
All right. Let's go.
Woo!
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.